And we're live. There's the smile. Oh, man. Okay. Everyone, welcome to the show, Awareone Radio. Your host, Derek Mooney. I'm with a special guest today, my twin brother, Chris. Chris, how you doing?
Happy to be here. Beautiful place.
There's many people that would want to hear this conversation in our family, but eventually they will hear it. But today, I just want to talk to you about a couple of things, man. But if you want to talk about the last few months, you're back here in Vernon. What are your plans, man? What are you up to?
Back in BC. Happy to be here. Just finished working as a haul truck driver and heavy equipment operator out in Alberta. Recently, before that, just finished project management certificate and available for hire. So any employers out there watching, high paying jobs only, I'm available.
How was the rock truck, man? Tell me about the rock truck. Give me a day of the rock truck life.
Keep it short and sweet. Get loaded from point A, drop it off at point B, and repeat. But it was quite an experience. You're in looks like the apocalypse. You're driving in the middle of nowhere, underneath ground, and it's something I never thought I'd experienced before. So it was interesting. And
it's you said it's an hour out of Edmonton. You said
hour drive out of Edmonton, 12-hour shift, and repeat. It was great.
Wow. So the project management thing, man, that's something that you want to do full time.
100%. Yeah, just did the course last year. Kind of fell in love with kind of what it's about. Have management diploma from Algonquin, as you know, and try to pair that together and see where it takes me.
That's dope, man. That's awesome. Like I said to you last night, how I start the show off, or how I want to start the show off, I want to ask everybody a particular question, being the theme of Awareone. So before we start going any further, what does mental health mean to you?
I think it means you can probably get a different description or a different answer from every individual.
Oh, yeah,
but
definitely.
For myself, it's just about feeling good. So it's just pretty much doing what makes you feel happy, taking care of your mind, taking care of your body. Whatever brings you joy, pleasure, happiness is probably what I'd put it under that category. And
for fitness-wise, so what do you do for fitness to keep your body in a happy zone? Like what's your routine?
Probably top 2, top 3 basketball, as you know. Still play, coach basketball, workout, lift weights, and probably yoga would be my third I'd throw in there.
Yoga, yeah, it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, man. Just getting into a routine of yoga, but stretching, obviously.
Hot yoga only.
Hot yoga only.
That's it.
No, I thought you did. Regular yoga at just like a studio or something like that. You go to hot yoga in Edmonton?
Hot yoga.
Oh wow. Yeah, there is hot yoga. Somebody was telling me about me that here in Vernon I wanted to try out. A topic I wanted to talk about today, just because I think it's a topic that me and you we discuss, obviously going back in the days when we were in college playing basketball, but you were an all-star in college, back in Ontario, and then also at Nate College in Edmonton. Talk about what it's like. What are the challenges that you had, being not only a basketball player in college, but being a star basketball player, and then also keeping up with your social life, your homework, like your schooling, and then like every other thing day to day. So like, walk us through what was that was like.
Probably 2 different lifestyles. So being in Ottawa, as you know, you take the 95. Shout out to all the guys back home. That's very long bus ride. So you'd be up, as you know, 5 a.m, take the 1:30 or 1:35, get to Place Orleans, hour and a half bus ride, and class all day, practice till 8:30, 10 o'clock at night, bus back and repeat. So long days, very long days, very tired. Fell asleep in class many times. Yep. I'm sure you remember those. And then moving on to Nate, just similar lifestyle, just kind of came in a different form. So class all day, I'd have 1 or 2 part-time jobs and practice every day, game on weekends, and it's not as glamorous as outside looking in.
That man, so that's one thing that I didn't do. Obviously, and we haven't talked about it too much, but being in not only a top player in college, and you have your school and your social life and yada yada yada, but also being in a new city. So how was it like adapting to that, to your surroundings in a new city?
It was kind of overwhelming at first. I lived in Chinatown in Edmonton.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
For those who have been there, it's quite the experience as itself.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, the people were great. People were great to me, and coaching wise, school wise, peers, friends. So that kind of made the transition a lot easier. But didn't feel like home. But just made the best of the time, and had a lot of good experiences.
And like for networking and stuff, do you find it was easier to network because you're in a new surrounding, or was it just like it just came naturally type thing?
I think the more you move around, the more you get used to meeting people and just kind of being that person, that outgoing person, and try to make good connections and connections that can kind of move forward in life, and which I've been fortunate to make. So right. I thought it was pretty good.
No, it's cool, man. I don't want this to be like an interview type thing. I just want to just speak freely on whatever topic. I know Georgie's going to be wanting to tune into this.
I hope so. I hope he takes an hour out of his day.
If anyone's listening,
pause the Laker game.
Yeah, George is our father. How you doing, Dad? He's probably going to be tuning into this one. We do not have any sisters. Me and Chris are actually twins, and we have an older brother named Ryan. How do you feel about that, man? Not having a sister?
Don't know. You don't know you missed out on, or didn't miss out on. I think almost grateful. I don't have to be the protective brother. I don't know.
It's true.
Yeah, you don't know what you're missing unless you've experienced it.
I find like when I go into like somebody's house that has a and they have like maybe 1 or 2 sisters or whatever, a guy that's my age, it just seems normal. It's just like, not too many guys are overprotective. I think that's like a, what do you call it? That's like it's an illusion. Like
it's a misconception.
Yeah, it's not real. Like I think that no guy is too overprotective because they have to be humans themselves. So, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think about it sometimes, man, like especially being a twin. People ask me all the time, what's it like being a twin? I don't know. It's
what you're born.
It's what I'm, there's no other way.
Yeah.
There's no other way, man. But the coolest thing, as far as like, having brothers and stuff, I talk with Luke sometimes. Luke, anyone listening is a good friend of mine. He'll be on the podcast as well. He's an only child, so he never got to share brother and sister traits,
or arguments.
Or arguments, yeah. It's so funny, man. It's so funny being on this, using a podcast as a platform to, to talk about whatever, and to have you on the show too. It's actually like it's super cool, man. Like it's a lot of people are gonna be hearing this.
More to come. Episode 250 is around the corner, man.
This is number 4, man. This is actually a special thing. I think a lot of people are gonna want to listen to. I don't know anyone that makes a podcast with a brother or sister or whatever, or a twin, whatever. It's pretty interesting, man. Moving along, bro. One question I like to ask too, just because of like coping mechanisms that people use or get exposed to over time, that I try and pick up from just learning books. We read a lot of books. We'll get into that too. But when you're stressed, besides like the weightlifting and stuff like that, or maybe even it could be one of your sources. But what do you do when you're feeling stressed and you need to get something off your chest? Like what's your go-to?
Truthfully, at this point in my life, as I get older, you just try not to stress. It's why.
What do you mean by that?
Why be stressed over work or be stressed over life events? I just think whatever's meant to be is meant to be, as cliche as that is, and just allow things to unfold and kind of not get caught in your own head. Not everything's going to go to plan. Not everything's going to go to plan, even if you want it to, obviously, and just adjust and be patient with yourself. Be patient with what life's giving you, and just try not to be stressed, but obviously it happens. And physical activity is probably the biggest thing. So I would work out, go for a run, lift weights, play ball, do something to escape what's stressing you out.
Reality. What life throws at you. Yeah, it seems to be the common theme, with when it gets to a point where you can't take enough. A lot of people resort to that. Helps me too. I work out and stuff too.
There's plenty of ways, but that seems to be the healthiest.
I think it is the healthiest. That's right. Yeah, it's true, man. Especially with basketball too. Growing up playing basketball. What would you, if you didn't have basketball, like growing up playing basketball? What I always wonder myself what I would do. But what do you think you would have fell into? What was your second biggest interest?
I have no idea. I have no idea. As a great Canadian, I'd say hockey.
Right.
I don't know. I like to box. That's kind of like a hobby.
Yeah, you've been getting into that. You said
maybe a little bit of that, or maybe it would have hit the books a little harder. Maybe it would have been something more deeper education wise. So who knows, man?
For books, yeah. So you, we read a lot of books, but what is the most beneficial book you've read so far that has like changed, changed your brick wall? It slanted you a bit and changed the way you thought something. You know what I mean? What's the biggest one?
So many. Recently, probably I can't name a lot of authors, but I'd say my favorite author to this date would be Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm Gladwell. Is that the one?
He wrote Outliers. He wrote.
I'm thinking of
this new book that I just read. Is very, very good as well.
What's that called?
I'd have to pull it up. I just lent it to my friend back in Edmonton. That was very good. But what got me into kind of back into reading, I read Tools of Titans. That kind of gives you I think you've read that as well, but it kind of gives you like a little tidbit of what certain successful people do in their lives, and that kind of just opened my mind up and re-sparked it into getting back into reading. So
yeah, that's actually I told you I just started reading that not too long ago. I don't know if you remember, we had Tim Ferriss, so he goes and he interviews people and asks them a series of questions. Who was the one that the guy that he interviewed that was like the biggest like influence? Like what was the story?
I think I just stole a bunch of things from like the health section and business too, but just kind of what you wouldn't think doctors or successful business people would do that they do in their practices. They'll take certain psychedelics to have creative brain thoughts and stuff like that. So you never would associate those two together. So I kind of opened my eyes up to a different way of life and see that there's so many different ways of doing things. So
did you see the series on Netflix? The series called Explained?
Yeah, very good.
Did you see the additional series that they added called The Mind, the 5 new episodes?
No.
Yeah, it's interesting. They have one on memory, one on mindfulness, and then they had one on psychedelics too, and I was pretty blown away. That seems to be coming to like a lot more people are just like trying to, have an inner body experience or outer body experience.
Ayahuasca.
Have you tried that?
No, of course not. I wish. I would.
What? Oh, you would try all of them? Like there's like mushrooms, there's acid, and there's what?
Ayahuasca is the biggest one right now. Yeah, I forget where you have to travel to do that, but
Peru, I think it is.
I think Machu Picchu is Peru. So
I heard about it too.
When in Rome.
Yeah, if I'm ever in Peru, I would, but I don't know about that. But anyways, that's another. That's getting off topic a little bit, but books. I'm a big fan of the David Goggins book, Can't Hurt Me. But I'm pretty interested to see this other book that just a friend lent to me. It's called The Black Swan. You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
That's apparently like a very famous book. I'm not too sure what it's about. I haven't started it, but my friend Emily gave that to me, so I'm going to be checking that out soon. I think books are huge, man. I think books are, and any source of research or, any way that you can learn from somebody else, for people listening right now, I think it's super important that you just try and pick up a book and read anything and then use it.
I think the biggest thing that we both do as well is Audible. So I think there's kind of two ways to take that. if you get to drive, go to Kelowna, drive an hour, 45 minutes to Kelowna, you get to turn that on instead of listening to the same hip hop every day. So
Yeah. Audible is an app.
The people know.
I don't know if a lot of people know about Audible, man. Actually,
Google it. Google it.
It's called Audible. Yeah, it is an audiobook app. Yeah,
I
so
think,
people don't know.
reading, if you have time to read, I heard this, and reading just adds like a different layer of depth into your brain to kind of, rather than just listening. So you kind of get more in depth into the literature that you're kind of come across. So that kind of opened up my mind rather than just completely audible and being lazy to actually flip open a page and.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think it's just sometimes it's so hard for me. I think for other people too, just to actually, you have so many things in your mind thinking about it. It's hard. I can get through like 20 pages and it's like somehow I just get off topic and I have to like relax.
Just like college.
Yeah, exactly. I never opened those books. But seriously, yeah. Well, that's a good point. As far as, a lot of people say that, you're in good shape and you continued on to, maintain your body after college, or university as well. What is one thing that you could tell like kids listening how important it is to stay in shape, moving forward? Because I think it's a huge thing, man. Because like I see guys all the time, and you do it too, where guys, they think they put in the work the first 25 years of their life, and then they think they can just float away, and they're just going to maintain that somehow. So like. What do you say to those guys? If you ever do see them, I know you don't say, "Hey, get your fat ass in shape," but I'm just saying, what do you try and like preach to these guys?
Well, for myself, I got a couple injuries basketball, so I put on some weight. I said, "Screw it, I'm gonna enjoy myself."
How much weight?
Probably 30 pounds.
Is that back when I saw you
in Vancouver? We were in Vancouver.
That's right.
Partying, drinking, eating, etc. So I got to a point one day. I looked at myself in the mirror after I showered, and I was just, enough's enough here. So and it took me probably 3-4 months to get back in shape. I'm lost all that weight, so I'm back down to college playing weight, if you will. And I'll never do that again because it's so hard to get it back. It's very easy to lose, and that's kind of that's just the reality. And I just think as you get older, I just talked to a friend of mine in Edmonton. He's in his mid-30s. And his advice was to not stop. I think when you stop, it's just harder to keep it going. So
yeah, it's true. Man.
But my advice for the kids, I don't think when you're in college, your body's still growing, still maturing, your mind's still maturing. You don't know what you're capable of doing. So I just think you're scratching the surface when you're 20, 21, 22, and you haven't even reached your prime. I hope I haven't reached mine, as I hope you haven't as well. And we just keep getting better in different avenues of fitness and health. So.
Yeah, there's so many new things that always come about, and they seem weird at first too. Like back in in high school, I never would have imagined of using a lacrosse ball and a roller to and a Fitbit. Yeah, one of these too, man. Yeah, same type of thing.
Fact.
It's just everything just keeps evolving and stuff. And even obviously, I never would have thought I'm doing a podcast with you, but things keep evolving and you keep on learning, and I think that's one of the most important things, man. Just keep evolving and staying up to date and staying in the mix, but not getting lost in the phoniness,
Big time.
Future plans, man. With, staying, you want to be involved in the project management thing. What do you think is going to be like a challenge down the road? Like, do you think if you get into an office, you'll be like, get into that routine of you're going to be in a cubicle and you're going to be sitting down all day and you'll be like, oh, man, I hate this. Is that?
100%. I would completely agree with that. I think we always want what we can't have. And, you achieve this, you get to that point, and then you find something to complain about. I think this is how we're wired as humans. So just try to be grateful and just invite new experiences into my life and see where things go. I have no idea, man. We'll see how things play out, man.
For coaching basketball though, so you coach up to 16-year-olds.
Currently coach at Nate College right now.
Oh right,
so,
you're assistant coach. Yeah.
Yep. So assistant coaching there, so which has been awesome up to this point. Guys are 3-1 right now, so they're doing awesome.
Good for you guys.
And coached in Kelowna, coached in Alberta for kids, and that was probably my most fun job I've ever had, but monetarily not as satisfying. But
What do you mean by that?
you just get to be around such good young kids, and obviously they say the youth is obviously the future, which it is.
Yeah.
And there's an element of where it's you're giving back, but they're also giving more to you. So they make you feel as good, if not better, than how you make them feel, which is such a big thing you don't get to experience in a lot of jobs.
Right. And well, man, because I think it's one of the coolest things that you've experienced. Getting to be around kids that you have such a big impact on.
And you get to travel, so I'm gonna throw that in there too.
Why isn't that something that you don't want to do full time? Like maybe do your own thing.
Bales exist. If Bales did not exist, you never know. It might happen. I think I'll get to a point in my life where I definitely would like to give back in a certain area with basketball, however I choose to use that. So definitely, it's still continuing to happen, and just it will, like you say, evolve with as time goes on.
What's your favorite part about coaching kids, like being around that environment? What's your favorite thing?
It's the diverse personalities, just the humor. Everyone's always having a good time, so it's like
happy to be there.
Happy to be there. They get out the house. They don't have to do homework. They don't have to worry about certain things. They're just there to be themselves. I think that's great.
It's true. When I walked into a practice not too long ago, there doesn't seem to be many. Or last summer, there wasn't seem to be many kids that were down and upset about being in the gym.
Well, you get to talk about mental health. Like an escape was, something's going wrong. Yeah, you break up with your girlfriend in grade 10, you go play ball. You do whatever. Something's going wrong, you fail your math test, you go play ball. Everything doesn't matter when you're on the court, when you're in between the lines, and I'm sure some of those kids feel the same way. So I can completely relate. I have a lot of empathy for that.
Yeah, no, that's definitely for me too, man. That's been one of the, I still play, and I feel like I'm not really on Earth. I'm in a different realm when I'm on the basketball court, man. It's I think that's the reason why I can't let it go. Just because it releases so much tension from my body, and I really hope that people have something like that where they can, resort or look to go to get that stress out of them.
Big time.
And I feel bad for the ones that don't, it's just so beneficial. And stretching, man, we talk about yoga just now, but stretching, like how often do you stretch? Because I feel that
not
stretching,
enough. Not enough.
I think that stretching is one of the most important things to do, especially for an athlete. The wear and tear on our muscles and our bones. Getting that lactic acid out, getting that those crunches, those cricks and crannies out of our muscles, man.
Okay.
It's super important. But like, how often do you stretch?
Try to stretch after every workout, and I emphasis on try.
Right.
It's just time, but I think as you get older too, it's more maintenance than muscle development. And you kind of want to recover faster, and you want to feel better rather than try to be a stronger version of yourself.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. So.
In the rock truck life, how many hours were you stretching a night? It beats up on your back.
0. Oh, you're stiff as a board. It's like going on a road trip every day.
I'm sorry, man. I just have a hard time picturing you in a truck, man. It's just.
I try not to.
It's just so crazy, man. The things we do for money.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just great. So, like when you got out of the truck, you're in bed right away.
100%. Drive back to the house, shower, knock out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that again.
Never say never. Preferably not, but if, like you say, it's things we do for cash. So
I hope not, man.
We'll see what happens.
I hope not, bro.
There's worse jobs. We've had worse jobs, but.
I want to talk about podcasts a little bit, man. What podcast do you listen to right now that is like the most beneficial for you? In regards to well-being.
I think the one I listen to most, I'm sure a lot of people would agree, is Joe Rogan.
No, of course. Yeah.
So I think he has a lot of cool guests and just a lot of interesting topics he talks about, and that's kind of the number one. Listen to a fitness one, stuff on kind of body, different types of workouts. And
who's that?
I have to pull him off, but I copied a couple of his points. I kind of took them with me, and then there's one that's the Minimalist podcast as well. So just kind of.
Oh, I've heard of that.
It's pretty good. So it's just just more of a minimalist way to live life, and those guys are very stress free because they're not holding and hoarding all their items and living outside of their means. Yeah.
Right. Did you see the documentary Minimalism?
Yes.
Is that the one that did you introduce me to that?
I think I did.
Yeah, you did. Man, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. I declutterized my closet. I got rid of almost half of my stuff. I feel that's something people should talk about a lot more too. Is minimalizing a lot of their shit.
Last night at Joel's watching the Lakers game when he said one of the biggest reasons people are so stressed, they live outside their means, and that couldn't be more true.
Yeah,
everyone wants more than what they need, and it adds such a. You have to be tied down to your job, et cetera, just because of certain things. So
yeah, no, it's a big one, man.
Can't take them with you, they say, right?
That's a fact. I think that's something that people should be talking about more. Like, why do they need? You need to be able to justify everything you have.
I think that's a bigger topic. I think we get so lost, but it's media. I think Instagram, Facebook, it all steers you in a certain direction. And if you're not following that curve, you're almost an outcast. So you can feel kind of isolated if you don't have certain clothing or shoes or car or whatever, and so on. Or you're not traveling every month. But the reality of it is you're probably $30K in student loan debt.
Right.
But you're out in Fiji and you look very good. That's there's something to be said about that. But it is what it is.
Yeah, everyone makes choices, man. What's your take on Instagram? What you only have Instagram.
I only have Instagram, yeah.
But you're not an avid poster. You don't post pictures. You just
no time for that. I'm trying to be in the moment.
Right.
I deleted it all for probably 6 months. I know I told you that, but for the listeners, deleted it. Never felt better. Got to be present in my own life.
Right.
So, and not wasting time. You know how many times you're clicking the app all day?
Yeah.
The average for certain apps is like 14 to 20 visits per day, and it's just that time could be used in such a better area of your life. So
true, man.
Try to stay off as much as possible, but it's obviously at this point in life it keeps you connected to a lot of people and a lot of different things going on. So it's kind of you got to find the median.
Yeah, man. That's a really good point. If more people would get off their phones, they would be focused on their goals in life a lot more. I feel the same way, man.
That could be a podcast in itself.
Yeah, that definitely could. I want to touch on that almost every podcast, man, because I think people need to hear that message from everybody, of how they don't need their phones. I know my phone's right in front of me. That's just for emergency only. But, I mean, I try and stay off that as much as possible, too. I don't know. I hate when I get caught. I catch myself, and it's like, why am I looking at this, man? It's
muscle memory. It has to be muscle memory. Yeah.
And I hate seeing just stupid stuff on there, and I'm just like, I can't believe I just wasted my 5 seconds on that. 5 seconds, those 5 seconds, they add up over time. But yeah, good point, man. Moving on. So this question you were just looking at, I wanted to
just for the listeners, I did review Derek's questions before he surprised me. He always has a trick up his sleeve. This guy.
Yeah, the only one that looked at my questions before. So learning. So what have you learned recently? In the last few months that is has been detrimental to your habits in life right now. Like something that you heard, and it was it just stuck with you, and this is very beneficial for me. What is something recent?
Probably just something that comes to mind is it's like the code word these days, but it is a process. Life's a process.
Process. Where'd you hear that?
It's all over social media.
Life is a process.
Or what's his name? Embiid. That's his nickname. What's his nickname? Yeah.
Joel, the guy, NBA player.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
I forget his. I'm not a big fan, but it is. It's a process or whatever his nickname is. But it is that life is. It's an ongoing thing. So it's just we always want to reach this certain plateau at this point, and I think you're always going to be kind of taking a ladder approach, step by step, or stairs, if you will, to reach this pinnacle, and it's a never-ending climb, in my opinion. So it's kind of never be satisfied, always be grateful, and just try to kind of work towards goals. And then when you reach a goal, set a new one and continue.
When you reach a goal, what's the most recent goal you reached, and what did you do after you reached it? Like, is there a celebration, or you just look in the mirror and say, hey, good job, Chris, and you just keep on moving forward?
Truthfully, I think you should take more time to congratulate yourself and to give yourself that recognition. For myself, I've kind of like fast paced recently, so I'm just trying to go, and
depending on the goal.
Depending on the goal, very true. But like I finished this other program, just did a heavy equipment operator as well, and just no time to congratulate myself. I think this is kind of time just to kind of unwind, relax. That's kind of how I would do that.
Yeah, you didn't go out and celebrate for getting a tractor.
No. Although I'm grateful for it, that wasn't. I did not get around a bruise for the boys on that one.
Well, it's because. It's probably because it's not like your dream either. It's not like it's just like it's a mini goal.
True.
It's to get you to another goal.
But again, that one's off the list now. It was a goal. I did want to do that schooling, right? But it's off the list. Got to set a new goal and continue.
Back to gratitude, man. I try and talk about. I want to talk about this for every podcast too, because everyone has a different practice of gratitude, and what it means to them. How do you practice gratitude? Is that a daily thing? Is that a weekly thing? And how often do you do it?
Has to be daily. Or else you forget. And I think we live such fortunate lives. We take a lot for granted. I'm sure.
We, as in everybody.
The majority of people. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I think a lot of people we're so blessed. Running water, food, I have a car, clothes, education, whatever. So it's very easy to forget about those things and take it for granted. But just to remind yourself of, how lucky we are to be in the position we are.
Yeah.
And health. I think the older I get too, it's like, when I woke up this morning, that should be enough to be grateful. And I'm healthy. I can do as I please. So it's has to be a daily practice. I kind of switch it up. I was doing like write 3 things down you're grateful for, but then you forget for a few days.
You physically wrote it down?
For a little while, but then you forget. You get caught up in a different routine. You forget to write them down, but then or you take a moment. You're on coffee break, or my meal is delicious today. Thank you for my meal. As simple as it is, maybe it makes you feel a little better and move on to the next. Or today we ran stairs, get to the top of the stairs, beautiful view, grateful for the view. So it's if you can find gratitude in those little things, you can find them in the big things as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point, man. I try and do that myself. Well, I try and write in that journal that Debbie gave Mom and I, but it's changed my life too, man. Like the way that I look at things, and it's the small things, being able to have a piece of paper and a pen to write on. A lot of people can't afford that. That's a small little thing too.
I think we're so blessed in North America that we don't even realize. So I think if we travel, I haven't traveled to over across the water, but I'm sure that would even open my eyes up to more, and for you as well. So I think we can even be more grateful once we experience those things.
What's the first place that you're going to overseas? Where do you want to go?
I think I've been saying this. I think Thailand. You see that on Instagram all the time. But I definitely I've heard such good things. It's super cheap to kind of live like a king there.
Yeah,
so
I would love to go.
I'd train, eat good, relax.
Yeah,
be on the beach. Yeah,
get a massage for 50 cents for 2 hours.
Some pad thai and good to go. Yeah,
some pad thai. Yeah. I would love to go to Thailand, man. That's probably one of my first places too. But I always want to go to Ireland just to check out the roots, man. We're half Irish, and I've always wanted to go to Ireland for some reason.
The roots.
The roots.
This is news to me.
We are 50% Irish.
What did you do? 23andMe? What'd you do?
No, I'm just from dad, and
do a cotton swab before you say that, man. I don't believe it.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
Well, what do you think you are then? What's your
Irish
background?
I don't know. Irish.
You have to look at our parents here.
Canadian. I don't know.
Oh well. Anyways,
it'd be great. It'd be a great trip, though, nonetheless.
I would like to go to Ireland, man. Luke went to Ireland last year. He said it was one of the most beautiful spots, and just to be around like people with different accents and stuff too. That'd be a different experience as well. But yeah, back to talking about how blessed we are here in North America. We are blessed, man.
Big time.
Canada, one of the nicest.
Nicest.
Yeah, well, yeah, top. Yeah, it probably is the nice. And especially we're in the most beautiful province. For anyone listening that's in British Columbia and hasn't been outside of British Columbia or Alberta, this whole country is beautiful. Everything is beautiful, but British Columbia specifically is the most beautiful. And you went to Nova Scotia recently, so you've been
Love Nova Scotia though.
so you've been all across Canada now,
Pretty much, yeah.
except for you didn't go to what, PEI,
Didn't go PEI.
and you haven't been to the territories.
Yep.
Or North Quebec, but anyways, no, not too many people go there anyways. But so what's your favorite part of the country? Like
I actually just watched a documentary on Canada yesterday.
What is it? What's it called?
It was just a YouTube one. It was just like an hour of kind of showcasing big cities and kind of going across and showing like nice photography, etc. But I love the East Coast. I love the West Coast. As broad as that is, I think if I were
give me 1 point for what's your favorite thing in the East? What's your favorite thing in the West?
The people on the East Coast probably so relaxed, so inviting. Everyone I met was great. Lots of laughs, great food. Weather was nice, and you're by the water. So
Yeah.
it's Halifax really showed love. And BC, I love Kelowna, I love Vancouver. I want to go out to kind of everywhere. You haven't experienced on the coast yet, but
Yeah.
I think if I were to choose, I'd either be in BC or most likely I'd be in BC. But
Yeah.
I could see myself on the East Coast as well.
Yeah, well, I really want to take a trip out to the East Coast as well. Farthest I've ever been is Quebec City, so I'm not too sure what it's like out there. But I really want to try the lobster, man. I know you probably had that.
Lobster rolls, delicious. Food was unreal, man. Honestly, you'd love it. I'm sure.
So blessed,
yeah,
man.
it's great. Lots of craft beer. So you get wine country out here.
Right.
Lots of craft beer out there. So
Oh, there is a lot of craft beer here too, but yeah, obviously it's not. They don't have many like wineries and stuff.
they got
do?
some winery. I had some good wine there too.
Huh.
But so much more to experience.
Wow. Yeah, really want to take a trip out there, man. That's awesome. It's so cool that. Well, would you ever go to the territories? I don't think you would.
To say I did, I would. Why not?
You-
It's not on my bucket list, but
Right.
if someone's going, I'll tag along. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of the cold, so I don't think I'd make my way up to Nunavut or Northwest Territories. But, anyways, it's just not for me. I'm not a fan of the cold. Like it's, and for outdoor sports in the wintertime, you won't catch me outside. Just because of the lack of vitamin D and the lack of whatever else you get depressed about in the wintertime, when it's cold.
And you don't know how to tie your skates.
And I don't know how to skate or ski or snowboard, man. You've never been skiing or snowboarding?
Once, and I fell on my face every time.
Snowboarding or skiing?
Skiing.
Oh. Actually, a friend was just talking, Julie Williams. We went to high school with her. She's going to be here. Her sister's living in Revelstoke. She'll be here in the wintertime. I think I might try skiing. I might go up there for a little bit again. Last time I went, she broke her arm back in the 9th grade, so I don't know if it's...
Best of luck to you both.
Yeah. Yeah, Julie, if you're listening, I'll be on the Kitty Hill for the first 5-6 runs, but anyways. Moving along, bro. One thing that you had a hard time with growing up and you overcame. I know it's just jumped into a serious question there, but one of the hardest hardships, that you experienced, and then it took you a little bit of extra time, to conquer it and then move forward once you realized that.
I think getting through school probably is
School, eh?
school, basketball, work. So it wasn't, school full time, basketball full time, and then I'd have 2 jobs. So I would
Right.
play your game Friday, go to work Friday night, play your game Saturday, go back to work Saturday night, and it repeats. So I think it's just it's a continual grind. And it's just you're malnourished, you're not sleeping enough, you're not giving your body what it needs to be successful, and you don't want to be in class because of it. But you develop a lot of grit within that kind of life situation. I wouldn't say it was the hardest thing, but it would. I was probably just the day to day was just very taxing.
Yeah, yeah, and the physical, the physical exhaustion. That's what got me too. When I was, I wasn't working like you were when you were at Nate, but every once in a while, I guess I would, ref a basketball game or something for Like, it was super easy, but, just school and playing basketball was hard enough. But then I couldn't imagine. And talk about what your job was, man. Tell everyone what you were doing.
Shout out to Avenue, my man Jamie out in Edmonton. I was security. So I was security at a hip hop club.
You're a bouncer.
Edmonton, yeah,
that's right.
So, for something that comes to mind when I played at Grant McEwen, the first night I had a pretty good game. I hurt my foot, pulled a ligament in my foot, had 19 rebounds, which is like my rondo game, if you will.
Yeah.
And then you have to go work. So I'd be up till 2:30, 3 in the morning. There's like a couple brawls. There's a couple local gangs were fighting. You'd have to break up this fight.
You're a gimp on the
I can't walk properly. Yeah, I'm hurting. And then you have to go to shoot around at 9 in the morning. Can't take part in shoot around because you're hurt. And then you have to play at 6, 7 o'clock. So it wasn't, as I say, it wasn't as glamorous. But obviously you do because you love it. So.
For the work though, would you, if you could do it all over again, would you not work as much?
100%. But it's a catch because your mind's thinking survival. I'm in survival mode. I have to eat. I have to pay bills.
Right.
And I didn't want to take out a student loan. So I was kind of one of the ones that didn't have to take out a loan. So I left school with money in my pocket, which was nice.
Yeah.
But you're also you're spreading yourself too thin in other areas. And I would have definitely just focused on basketball because you get a small window to do that.
Yeah.
And you can work for the rest of your life. So
yeah,
if I would have been more forward thinking back then, I probably would have just sucked it up, take out a 20K, 30K loan and play ball.
For some reason, I don't think you would, but
I wouldn't. I'm giving advice to the people coming up. That's what I would do.
Because of the level of exhaustion and how tired and fatigued you were.
You're not going to be the best student or athlete you can be if you're doing all these things.
These extra things.
And you have to have a social life and hopefully a girl here or there. So
yeah. Here or there.
Here or there.
What up, Paige? I can't wait for her to listen to this. She's pretty excited. I bet she is. Did you tell her we're doing a podcast?
No, it's going to be a surprise.
You didn't tell her, right?
The world's going to be in shock.
I know Aunt Jane will be listening to this too. Man, it's true. I think it's to give you a solid compliment, man, it's pretty remarkable. A lot of people don't come out of, and especially finishing things too, they don't come out of school or college or university, whatever, with some type of diploma, degree, and also being not just on a team, but being, a good player on a team, and then also having money in their pocket when they get out, man. That's like a story that not too many people, get to tell a tale. You know what I mean? No one gets to say that stuff. So it's actually congratulations to you for doing that.
Appreciate that.
And for the people that are listening, the students that are coming up who are listening to this, it is a challenge, but you can definitely do it. But you're saying that if you can go back, you would actually take it easy and focus on the two main things that you're there for.
100%.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. A lot of people choose different paths and different avenues, and obviously after you're finished school, real life hits you.
Very much so. Yeah. Very
real
much
life,
so.
Man. Yeah, I know. It's a crazy thing, man. Well, next question that I have too. This is just picking your brain, man. Just one question at a time, just so people get to know who the real Christopher Mooney is. One thing that you want people to take away from you, from listening to you, what's one piece of advice that you can give to everybody right now? That is just like the most important piece of advice that you can put out. If this was the last day on Earth, what would you tell people right now?
I think just to keep it super simple, I'm not going to give this great advice, but just to be grateful and to be patient with yourself, and just know that you're going to get to where you want to get. It just may take a certain time. Like, you ever see the key to success where it goes like this, but in reality it kind of loops around and it goes all crazy. That is life as I know it anyways. So I know where I'm headed. It's just it's gonna take certain twists and turns to get there, and just kind of be ready and be patient until you reach where you want to head.
Patience and gratitude. Yeah, two of my most important attributes of life too, man. You just never know what's gonna happen in life, man.
Exactly.
Where do you want to go? Where's up? Where's the top of the mountain?
It's it's a big question to answer. I think just obviously be around family, be with great friends, continue to develop new relationships. I think that would be one area of the question.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, continue to grow in that area and travel and just be healthy. And I think the more simplified your life is, I think the easier it is on you to enjoy it. So family, friends, whatever you want to do in your career, financial, and then and to give back as well. To kind of, I think you have to have a well-rounded life. You have to kind of give a little back wherever you fit in.
Yeah, that's great that you think that way, and I know you do. I want everyone else to hear it as well. One of the questions I always want to ask on this show as well is that because I think the word fear is it's so broad. You can be scared of little things. You can be fearful of many like big things and small things. But currently right now, is there something that you're fearful of that you're working on?
No, I'd say no. I think at this point in my life, I've done enough where you're scared to take a leap or a leap of faith. When I left to Edmonton, I was 22 or 23.
Right.
I think I had just enough to pay bills for a few months. Hopped on a Greyhound, took a 16-hour Greyhound with two bags, and that's when my mind wasn't where it was, my finances where it was to this day, and I knew no better. Ignorance was bliss, and I was very blissful at the time, and it was a blast. But you do certain things like that. The more you take those leaps of faith, the more comfortable you become in doing so. So I don't really have much to be feared.
So when you were 22, that's when we were in Vernon, and then you left.
Yeah. Great summer.
Great
time. You had the crotch rocket, or did I? I had a bike. Yeah. You formerly had a bike as well. Stupid again, but blissful.
Yeah. Crotch rockets. Yeah. Yeah, they're not
safe.
I don't think I'd ever get one again. No. I should have. I shouldn't be here right now, man. But you didn't go over 100 kilometers, so you were fine.
You're ridiculous. Real talk, probably 140. I was good. 140, 150. My legs are at my knees.
Oh my God, man!
It wasn't for me, man.
You are the only person that has ever owned a crotch 600, by the way. That has never taken it into fifth gear.
It looked very good though.
Yeah, it was a good look. That's crazy, man. Like that back in that time, going into school. I remember when I was going back to Algonquin for my last time. I was 22 as well, and just like what it felt like to have nothing in your bank account. Well, I know you had more than me. Probably did for sure, but like just to go into like that school mindset where it's just like ignorance is bliss, man.
Well, I think as you say this, Derek drove an '84 Toyota Tercel across the country.
87.
I apologize, sir. Drove that back, and this is a great story. I remember it gave you too many issues throughout the basketball season in school that you traded it in, and you didn't have enough for the new pair of Jordan 11s that came out. I'll never forget that as long as I live. So it's just talk about not being able to scrape two nickels together.
Yeah, man. I
but
know.
It didn't matter. And I think there's a lot to be said for those moments in life.
Yeah. No, I truly, when I did decide to drive across the country and that, and the rigs were calling me back when I was working on the oil fields. They called me back because they were starting up. So do I go back and play basketball, which I'd love to play, and I would definitely have regretted it if I didn't go, or do I stay and work back on the oil fields and make $120K for the year? And that was a big decision. And I said no. I had $800 left from the paycheck I was working at the sawmill. Filled the 87 up and jetted her down, man.
Trev has no idea. Jimmy has no idea.
No, they have no idea, man. A lot of people have no idea. I don't even like talking about it sometimes because it's like, how was I even that? Like, how did I make that decision? But obviously, if I didn't do it, I would have regretted it. And that's how much I love playing basketball. But I mean, it was experience, man. It was experience that you can't forget. But it's right. It doesn't matter. it doesn't matter at all because you have to follow what you really, you have to follow what you love. I think that's probably the moral of the story, man. And that's the reason why you went back to college at Nate.
Big time.
You have to follow through with what you believe in, and you believe in yourself, whether you have $5 or 5,000, whatever the case may be, man. It's such an experience, man. I don't take it back for anything, man. It's one of my favorite things in life.
100%.
For anyone that's debating, that's a story that upset me the other day, man. That kid that was supposed to go to Okanagan College, man. What's his name? I forget his name, but I don't want to say his name, actually. But making up excuses like that, and he's a pretty good basketball player. Like, he's not bad. Like, he loves the game. Obviously, he's hanging around the gym. Like, he's a gym rat, hanging around all these little local gyms, like shooting all the time. But then he says it's too much for him to take the bus to school every day, which is an hour bus ride. And people are like, there's people that are taking 2 hours to get to school. Some people, they walk 6 hours to school in different countries, And this guy, just because he doesn't have a vehicle, doesn't, he just, there's kids nowadays that have so much that they just don't even realize it, man.
Big time.
It sucks.
But I think our parents, our grandparents probably think and know that we're softer as life got easier with technology, etc. And it's only compounding as time goes on. So what can you do? I don't know.
What do you say to that guy? I don't know.
Wish him luck.
Yeah, I guess so, man. It's just he'll never get it, I guess, because he has everything in front of him. It's only an hour bus ride, man. I can't believe that. Anyways, man, this has been great, man. This has been dope. I know there's a lot of people that just know me and you personally that would love to just sit down and hear us talk about some stuff, especially using this Awareone, this mental health as a platform. You are you're my twin, but you also are a different person, and just the way that you maneuvered in life, you got to a certain point, you're a successful 27-year-old young man. And it's
likewise.
And thank you. And I think that a lot of people would like just to know of how a person like you navigated to make it to where you are today. And you have how many pieces of paper from school? You have a lot of life experience, and just like anybody, you've been through trials and tribulations, that and you've acquired skills and you've had to learn to get to where you're at, And I think just having you on the show, and hope this is not going to be just the first time. It's going to be many more times. And it's going to be cool over the course of life, because I plan on doing this for a long time, and sitting down with many, many people. But it's going to be cool to come back and see where you're at, and we can look back on this one and be like, oh, that's where your mindset was there. And then, a year, 2 years down the road, whatever the case may be, then you're going to be like, wow, I've come a long way. And I think that's a cool thing that we're getting to do right now, just to sit down and talk about this.
Big time.
But as we wrap it up, is there anything that you would like to say to anyone out there that's listening right now?
Not really, man. Honestly, thank you for having me on the show, for one. But two, you're doing something great for the community and giving back in your own way as well. So it's awesome. I think if everyone did that, the world would be in a better place. So at least you're playing your part and leading by example. So for everyone, maybe have a similar mindset and to help each other. That's what it's about. We are one, right? So help each other and just be happy and then do what makes you happy. Probably would be what I would like to leave on.
That's awesome, man. Thank you very much. Is there any way, for anyone to reach you? Do you want to give your social media or anything out there if anyone wants to ask you a question?
My only social media would be Instagram at cmooney5.
cmooney5. All right, man. Okay, well, thank you very much, bro. I appreciate it. Okay, you guys have a good one. Thank you very much.